Lovely. Very good afternoon, and happy to see lots of familiar faces returning and some new faces. Welcome. Leader in You is a lean in community. And if you are not aware of what a lean in community is, uh, based on the book itself, it is a practice to form groups of people, women leaders, women who are focused on a certain aspect. So we've got lean in circles for technology. We've got lean in circles for leadership. This one, Leader in You, is a leadership circle. We've got leadership lean in circles for women trying to get back into the workforce, trying to get fit, so on and so forth. I run this Leader in You lean in circle for women leaders. And for me, a woman is a leader irrespective of her role, irrespective of her age, irrespective of what she's doing, not doing, whether she's working for a corporate, whether she's an entrepreneur, whether she's a homemaker. I think every woman is a leader in her own respect. So you will find that in our group also. We've got the entire range of directors, CEOs, to founders, entrepreneurs, to people who are looking for jobs, who are working in corporates at various designations, and so on and so forth. Every year we find a new thing to do in our community. This is the third year of the community, and this year we've been reading books every month. And this month we've all read, most of us have read, I'll figure out how many of us have read, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Uh, yeah, I have a volunteer for the next month already, but if any one of you is interested in presenting a book, you could just put up your hand and my team will reach out and we will figure out a date so that you can present. With that, I'm going to be sharing my screen. Can somebody give me a thumbs up that you can see the screen? Wonderful. Yeah, I loved the read. So my first question is going to be, who has read the book? You can just raise your hand. Partially read, yet to start, bought, not started, whatever. No one read the book? Okay, one.
No.
Okay, that's not this thing. Partially. No, put partially. Lovely. The concepts are simple, relatable. So I'm not hoping that, without reading the book, it will not make sense. It will perfectly make sense, is my guess. However, if there are questions that you're not able to relate to, or I am guided by the language in the book and presenting that to you, please correct me and say, I don't understand. Can you rephrase for me? It's a green colored, very energetic color, the book is. And in the introductory pages, Mel Robbins does say it's a transformative approach for personal development and relationships. The whole thing around personal development immediately clicked. And I was like, okay, relationships, how? And she does really clarify. By the third chapter itself, I'm like, yeah, not only personal development, relationships, but also health, but also mental well-being, and so on and so forth. I was like, okay, she's undersold her book in the introductory chapter. The core idea is the title of the book, Let Them. Yeah, I will talk about Let Them a little bit later, but I'm going to ask you all a few questions. What does, when I say let them, what does let them mean to you? Just unmute and share. Just when you hear the word let them, what does it mean to you?
Says let them be.
Let them be. Yes,
Chitra
Chitra.
says let them be. Vinisha says the same.
Mhm. Let them think whatever they want to. Sure.
It's not about I, it's about others.
Let them is, tell me more about that, Jyoti. It is about others.
I mean, it's not about I, me, myself. It's about
Mhm.
any other. Like,
Any other? Oh, okay. The book is the flip. Yeah, it is about me, not so much about the other. And I'll tell you why. Yeah, hang in there. Vinisha says, let them do whatever they choose to, however they choose to. Yeah. Lovely. So according to Mel Robbins, let them is all that you've said. Let them be, let them do, let them say. But there are also instances where when we let them to be, say, whatever they choose to, it does affect us in some way or the other. Yeah, it is easier said than done. Let them is a very easy thing to say, oh, let them say, let them do, but we normally don't take it in that spirit. A couple of examples she gives in the book is she's sitting and scrolling through her Instagram when she sees her girlfriend gang having celebrated a vacation somewhere, and her immediate thought is, oh, they didn't invite me, they left me alone. Why? So her immediate reaction is, I have to get angry. And that's when she introduces to the previous concept in the previous book, 5 4 3 2 1. She calms herself down, saying, no, her thing is that every time there is an emotional response, hold your emotions, count 5 4 3 2 1 in that reverse order. Chances are you will respond and you will not react. So in that 5 4 3 2 1, she realized a couple of things. That she has been super, super busy in the last 6 to 8 months. She has not been responding to her friends when they've chit-chatted in the groups that they've been to. And in the last couple of instances, when the girl gang had planned something, she had excused herself out, saying that, I'm busy, I'm traveling, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. She'd excused herself out. And now here she stands that they've gone without me. Does it hurt? The answer is yes. It does hurt. My friend gang left without me. That's the let them go. But it is not the right space for one to be in. Let them go, fine. But I also wanted to be along with them. I also wanted to be a part of that vacation. What can I do? That's where she introduces the let me principle. She says, let them itself does not survive. There has to be a let me too. Yeah. So my screen hasn't moved. Yeah. So 2 principles. The first one, let them. Allow the others the freedom to be themselves. Be, do, say, think, feel. That's their choice. Yeah. Tejaswini rightly put, it is their choice. Let them think, say, be, do whatever they choose to. At the same time, let me focus on how I am going to respond to this situation. Yeah. Anyone take a guess? What do you think Mel would have done in that instance? When she saw, she's done the 5 4 3 2 1. She's decided, yes, they've gone, let them go. But what did you think she did for the let me part?
Probably after having realized where that she was not interacting or she was not available, she probably got back to being more available for her friends, I guess. I mean, I would have done that.
Yeah. The first thing she did is talk to them and say, oh, you had a lovely vacation. I'm not sure why I was not invited, but I would have loved to accompany you, showing that vulnerability, showing that she really wanted to be a part, and that is what she was really feeling. And that's when the friends also acknowledged that, yeah, we thought you would be busy because you've been busy last couple of times when we've invited you. So we thought probably you'll continue to be busy and you will let us know whenever you are ready, and we'll be very happy to take you along. So things worked well for Mel. If I nudge you all to think for a moment about situations that, I'm sorry, there are crackers bursting outside. If you can hear, apologies. All right, good. Yeah, that if you've been in a situation where your immediate instinct was, how could they? Why did they? Can you think back at that situation and now apply what the let them and let me would look like?
The most recent, because it's extremely topical,
Mhm.
crackers bursting.
Mhm.
So I take care of a lot of stray dogs and stray cats. I have my own pets. So every Diwali, it is a similar thing where we go and write on our group, requesting people not to burst the very loud crackers, the bombs. And every year, the conversation takes its own path. Many years I told myself I can't control this, so I let it go. But increasingly every year, the trauma that the animals are facing is becoming unbearable to see. I've spent the last 7 days driving 7 hours a day trying to find dogs and cats that get lost or somebody that's got hurt. So every now and then when I say let them be, I go back and then I try one more time. And unfortunately, this time was one of those years where I put up this note saying, if you could just not. And I got bombarded by people saying, why only our Hindu festivals? Why our Indian festivals? Why this? Why that? And I'm like, firstly, I'm Hindu. So thank God some poor other person from some other religion didn't say it.
Yeah.
But it was that, why don't you say it when elections happen? Why don't you say it when these MLAs do it? Why don't you? A lot of whataboutery, and makes me very angry because this is something I'm very passionate about. But in this specific case, I kept quiet for 3, 4 days because that was my initial reaction. Then I didn't appreciate the way the conversation was going, so I wrote a very, very heartfelt note, uh, which was equal parts requesting, but also equal parts shaming them. Basically saying that if you care, you'll care. If you don't care, you'll not care. And Diwali is not just about being burning lights, it's about being light, it's about embodying light. And if you could have empathy for the suffering of somebody else while you enjoy, that's all that's requested, nothing major, right? So if you can find joy in another's pain, then I wonder what this means.
Yeah,
But anyway, left it at that. Of course, after that it took crazy turn, but that's where I said let them. So
yeah,
for me, let them initially was just a trauma response, that let them, I will not say anything. But and then I felt I was stifling my voice so much that I was miserable. So
yeah,
I went and I wrote what I had to. And then I said, who has to follow will follow, who doesn't have to won't. I leave it to each one of you and your conscience. And
yeah.
I've put it there. Of course, after that, it has taken a political turn, a Hindu turn, I don't know what turn. But I feel happy with the amount I did. And yesterday somebody said that, oh God, they're burning crackers again. It's day 4 and our dogs will run away again. But at this point, I said, let them, because now I have done what I needed to do.
Lovely.
And now let them. I'll deal with the aftermath in whatever way I can. So
Wonderful.
it's very, very so on the surface for me. So it was an easy share.
Yeah. So she beautifully puts that let them actually is identifying that they are having the power to manipulate your emotions. Yeah. And let me is taking charge back of that emotions and saying, now I'm going to do something about what I'm feeling. Yeah. So that's why she says, don't leave it at let them. Yeah. If you leave it at let them, you've recognized they are playing with your emotions, they're manipulating your emotions, but you've not done anything about it. So take ownership of that and say that I am going to do something about how I'm feeling. And that's what she calls as let me.
Interestingly, when I didn't read the book, I've followed Mel Robbins for many years, and mostly I like her a lot.
Mhm.
Also because I recently came to know she has ADHD.
Mhm.
But um, what was interesting is I was a little diffident about reading this book because I didn't want to go down a path of just let them,
Yeah.
because it made me feel like it was my father all over again. So let them, so let them, so let the world do what they want to do. And I get very confused between how much do you let others do versus just keep quiet, you
Yeah.
know? So that was a misconception I had about the book, that it is about emotional bypassing, that it is about do nothing,
Yeah,
ignore
yeah.
people.
That's what she
But
says is
yeah,
not going to be helpful because
yeah,
you're still you're when you say let them do whatever they choose to, you've identified that the power sits with them, but you're not doing anything about it, which means you are still holding on to all the grudges, irritation,
yeah,
anger, frustration, whatever it be, to yourself. Uh, and that's why
yeah,
she says once you've identified to let them be the way they are, also decide immediately, let me do something. And what is that something is what you have to fill in.
correct.
Lovely example. Anyone else wants to share their let me before we move ahead?
Could I share?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, I want to bring in generational dynamics, I think, stress a lot of people out. And if I had to put myself in a cohort, I think I'm somewhere between Gen X and millennial, but identify strongly as Gen X because my siblings, parents, there's a pretty big generation gap. And I have to work very closely with a lot of Gen Z people. And this is not workplace. So it's not like this is for the hobbies that I do, which is theater primarily, because theater does attract a very young crowd. And these are people I get along with, like, when we're just doing theater, hanging out, these are people I vibe very well with. But the moment there's some work related stuff, things really seem to go all over the place. And I realize it's just such a classic expectation mismatch. So, for example, if there's an event, I want to start planning a month in advance, whereas a lot of these kids are like a week in advance for them, they'll start planning. And it gives
An
me
hour
a
in
lot
advance.
of, sorry.
An hour in advance.
Perhaps, yeah. Oh, then I'm probably with the better crowd because they'll at least start a week in advance. And earlier I used to get irritated, and it doesn't help that I'm also a perfectionist. So I think like even among my own age group, I tend to overdo it in quotes a little bit. But of late, I have been sort of telling myself, ki, theek hai, chalo, trust other people, trust the process. It's really hard. It's easier said than done. However, for me, the struggle is there were three different kids I was dealing with. And of course, when I say kids, I mean it with a lot of respect, no disrespect there. Where one of them decided to do something 2 days before the event, but the event was a great success. And I just kept quiet throughout. I did not pass on my anxieties. I was like, trust the process. The other person was very unclear about their communication, ended up getting irritated with me about something they were expecting. But I held them accountable. I insisted on we need to have a phone call. I don't want to continue this on text because clearly there's some miscommunication. Third person committed to something, didn't follow through. But the only thing I told myself is I'm not going to. I think earlier there was a part of me that would be like, छोटे हैं, बच्चे हैं. Now I tell myself they're young, but I'm not going to treat them like बच्चे. बच्चे नहीं है. They're all in their 20s. They're not 15-year-olds, So that's one thing. And oddly enough, one of my cousins said that you should have the Gen X approach. I was like, what do you mean by Gen X approach? And he said, see, Gen X is whatever. Like, you want to attend the event, don't want to attend, whatever. You're
Yeah,
going to do this job, not do this job, whatever.
whatever.
Don't care. But I feel whatever has a slightly cynical angle to it. And while all this was swimming in my head and these three different kids I was dealing with, this let them link I saw, you had shared it, Shanti, in one of the groups. And I was like, okay, this is a sign. I really need to pivot between whatever, which has a very just don't waste my time, and let them. So I want to let go of my need for following stringent processes, trust that younger generation probably has better ideas or other ways of working, and as long as the event is a success, who cares? And at the same time, hold people accountable if they are demonstrating a passive
Beautiful.
behavior or unaccountable.
Can you craft the let them and let me statements for yourself, Chitra?
Interesting.
You're going to let them.
Yeah, I think this line right here, let them work at a pace that suits them. Let
Ah,
them not necessarily follow my guidelines for what success looks like.
lovely.
Let me not get irritated when they are not doing things as per my
Yeah,
timeline.
one guideline, she says, do not use the word not in the let me.
Oh, acha,
Yeah,
okay.
so say it in
I
in
love
an
that.
affirmative thing. This is what I'm going to do. So if you're not going to let it affect you, what is the
Let me handle conflicts through peace and maturity.
lovely?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if I nudge you a little bit more, what are you going to do to handle conflicts with peace and maturity?
So recognize if conflicts come up and deal with it. Bring in accountability from if it's needed from them or from me. Recognize it and action it. And the part on be peaceful, I'm struggling with, to be very honest.
That's why she says use the 5 4 3 2 1 technique.
Acha.
And don't react to what's happening within
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think before.
Yeah.
Today.
So think before. So I think one thing I've started doing is when I feel this urgency of sending a text, ki kya ho raha hai? What are we doing? I just hold myself back. I'm like, ठीक है, let me trust and give it a little more time. Like, because I do know Gen Z's timelines are vastly different from mine. And again, I know it's not nice to sweep an entire generation with the same pain. I'm largely going by experience with three people this past week.
That
Yeah.
lovely, lovely. With
Is
that,
it
with
okay
Nupur
if
and
I just
Chitra's sharing, we have actually done the entire book.
Acha.
Yes,
हो गया.
you were saying something.
can I add if you can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Do I have permission to co-create a little bit with you, Chitra, if that's all right?
Go
Sure,
ahead.
sure,
Yeah, I may not be an expert in your scenario, so I may get it wrong. But something was staying with me after your piece, right? Which is that you're saying, let them do this, and I will focus on me, which is one part of it. But the part that I was also struggling with about this book, and think now I'm at peace with, is I don't think it's necessary that the letting them should leave me still feeling the way I feel. And
Yes.
it's
Yes.
okay if I do a few things that also help me. So maybe I was
Mm.
just thinking as you were speaking, so let me focus on myself. Yes, let me focus on this. But I don't think it's unfair for you to put certain things together, or put some milestones, or put some rules together, which if you don't think are unreasonable, they need to comply with. And just to give you some idea, I'm Gen Ancient, but I make, like, you would lose your mind with me. I make my last slide for the training I'm going to take 3 minutes before the training. It's just who I am. I'm like Shanti knows I'm ADHD. I'm MBTI type P. You do what you want to do with me. I will do only work in the nth second. The 3 seconds before my heart bursts is where I do beautifully. But people have been able to hold me accountable while not making me feel walked all over. And that is that when they've communicated with clarity what they need and what is their non-negotiable, and I have at least then said, okay, I will go to the nth minute of their non-negotiable. But that helped me. But I just felt that you were still walking away with a lot of burden on you to not be you. But maybe you could communicate how you could be you while they could still be respected. That's why I wanted to intervene a bit.
Thank you, thank you. This is something to chew on because I do feel like I'm
Absolutely.
playing a role. I feel like I go into Didi mode, auntie mode, mummy mode, and I'm just constantly telling myself, no, I am not your
You
mom. I'm
don't
not going
need
to
to be.
micromanage you,
Lovely.
you know, because I feel like sometimes that also can create communication issues.
And
But
that's why
I,
she calls them as the key principles.
yeah.
Yeah, let them. This principle encourages you to allow them the freedom to be themselves, make their own choices, mistakes,
Mm,
based on their values, principles, ethics, morals. Jo marji bolo. It is
correct.
their choice.
Yeah.
While the let me principle says, while you are letting them be the way they choose to be, you
Mm,
focus on your actions, your responses, your growth, your emotions.
mm,
And the two are parallel. They are not interlinked. Yeah, only if they do this I will be happy, only if they do this I will not be happy. There is actually no linkage, but we humans create that linkage based on what we expect them to be, how we expect them to be,
very
so
true.
on and so forth.
So it
Yeah,
truly requires flexibility more than anything else,
it
right?
does, it does.
And flexibility with myself also. Like I feel, why am I holding myself and the world to such
Yeah,
seemingly rigid standards? And
if you've communicated and they still choose to do something different,
yeah,
and we are using the word choose to do, right? So they've
yeah,
already chosen it. It's a choice that they've made. So be it.
yeah,
Your responsibility, or you are accountable to inform that, if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, that will happen.
yeah,
That also is your perspective.
correct. Yeah. There
So,
was one situation among the three people I spoke to where there was a clear violation of a rule, and I did ask myself, am I making a big deal about it? And then that's when I told myself, no, I'm not mummy, I'm not Didi.
absolutely.
I'm a colleague over here. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Shanti.
Most welcome.
Yeah,
So,
appreciate it.
couple of things before we move to the next piece is, why do these principles matter? One, it reduces our stress. Trying to control others' decisions and choices is only going to lead to more frustration and anxiety. We've just seen through a couple of examples shared. It also improves relationships because you are holding yourself accountable through the let me. You are taking action. You're not just feeling something and holding it within you. And of course, it promotes growth for your relationship, for your personal self, so on and so forth. And couple of things that she shares in terms of um, uh, why it works. And she talks about the human nature and the need for control. Um, when we believe that, uh, people should not burst crackers in Nupur's example, or in Chitra's example, Gen X's should think much in advance. The thing is, it is our temptation to control somebody else's choices. Humans naturally want to control their environment, people, and so on and so forth. It is the instinct which has been there since eternity. And how this one works is starting with the let them is we are letting go control. That's the start of it. Second one is agency and personal power, where we are focusing on our own agency and power. And this theory teaches us as adults, and she assumes this book is for adults, 18 plus. Teaches us adults that we can truly control our own actions and responses. We've got it within us as long as we call it out to ourselves. So by shifting the focus from others to myself, the let me part of it, you reclaim that power of responsibility, and which is essential for emotional well-being. The third one is, of course, resistance, and I would also add resentment to it. Um, Pushback, pressure creates pushback. I think that's the phrase that she uses. Yeah, when we try to manage change in others, it often creates resistance and resentment, and people are more likely to change when they choose it themselves. Even with our kids, right? Chocolate mat khao, I will not listen to you. But the moment you tell them that, your friends are not eating chocolates, that's why their teeth are so amazing. That triggers that thought, oh, I want amazing teeth, so let me not do that. So when you create circumstances that enables people to choose what is right for them, reduces the resentment and the resistance to make that choice, reduces stress. The psychological foundation that she talks about is related to the locus of control. The theory is grounded in the fact that we think we are the locus of control. And in reality, there exists no locus of control. Yeah. So just moving that locus of control from outside us, from within us to somewhere outside, enables us to practice the let them far more easily, where we say, because I am not the one controlling how this world functions, so it's okay for them to do what they choose to do. Honestly, I've struggled with this. I still feel the need to be in control of what gets cooked at home, who eats what, who should not eat what, when should people return back home. Um, Even after reading the book, even after telling myself, let them, it did not work until I reached the let me stage. And that's when, things started happening. So when my daughter is not home by 9:30, I do a video call just to check in. By when are you reaching, what's happening, how are you coming back, who's accompanying you. So just that, so the move off from let them to let me do, what is the action I'm going to do? I'm going to call her and check in on her well-being. So that's how things have moved in terms of the relationships. And of course, the long-term benefits of doing all of this. It's a very recent completion, so I've not seen lots of benefits outside with my friends or others, but immediate family, there has been some lovely benefits I've already started noticing. Moving to the structure of the book.
A question on the previous slide, Shanti, you
Sure.
said something. You said as long as, I think for agency and control, you said as long as you call it out to yourself. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What do you mean by uh, as long as you call it out to yourself, you said?
Um,
For the agency part, I think you were
Agency
saying,
part, yeah. When you claim power, you have to tell yourself what is the action you're going to take. So
okay.
let me, and she leaves a blank. Say, fill it up for yourself. When I said, Chitra, no, complete the statements. Let them complete it. Let me complete it. Let them comes very easily. Let them be. Let them do what they want to. Let them come late. Let them not eat. Yeah, let them not talk to me. That part comes to us very easily. But let me comes very difficult. It is not easy for us to say, what am I going to do with this? Let them.
That is the call it out part, you said.
Call it out to yourself. Tell yourself what you're going to do. Yeah, the book has 5 parts to it. First is awareness. Recognize where all in your life do you try and control of others. I'll do this as a reflection activity. If you can just take a notebook, pen around you and scribble what are the areas in your life that you feel that you need to take control of. first scribble something, then I'll share something that happened to me.
Shanti, I'm sorry. I think there was a problem with my connection. Could you please repeat what you asked us to do?
Sure. So the book is divided into 5 parts. I'm talking about awareness. I'll actually walk you through the steps that she made us do in the book.
Okay.
In the awareness part, she says, notice your patterns of wanting to be in control of things.
Got it.
Some of the things that I called out, right? What gets cooked at home, who comes in by when. No, those things that I choose to be in control. So like that, just notice the patterns in your life and list down the things that you want to be in control.
It'll be a shorter list if I write what I need to let go of.
That's exactly the story I was about to share, Nupur. When I wrote, I had 6 points. On my piece of paper, I had 6 points. And then came my daughter and she asked me, what are you doing, Ma? And I shared with her, this is a book, this is an activity I'm doing. And she literally rolled up her sleeve. I can tell you many, and she rolled up her sleeve and she started to rattle. Yeah, you take control of this, you take control of this, you take control of this, you don't let us do this, you don't let us do this. And I was like, gosh, though I would have never even guessed that I am such a control freak. I would have never guessed. So yeah, please do that. Get your initial list started, but speak to people who are your near and dear ones, and they would tell you a lot more areas, because it's difficult for us to notice our own patterns. When somebody shows us a mirror, it becomes that much easier, and the list will grow. Be prepared to be surprised. Yeah, then once you've got at least a few for today, ask yourself, is it about them, or is it about your need to feel certain and comfortable? Is the need to control, is it about them, or about your need to feel comfortable and certain?
I think a lot of the controlling I do is not necessarily coming from, I mean, it's a stretch to say it's to my need to make it comfortable, but I think a lot of it comes from the need for fairness, which is again my need.
Yeah.
But to see fairness in the world, or to see that this is unfair, whether it's between two people or animals or whatever, just um, people doing their part of the equation. So I think I get very triggered when I see a lack of fairness or concern. But I guess you can stretch it to say that's also
My need.
my need.
Yeah. Typically, most of what we've written areas where we want to be in control, it is our need. One of the first things I had written was, how I arranged my bottles in the kitchen. Sitting at my workstation, when my cook will ask me, garam masala kahan hai? I'll say second shelf, third bottle, red dhakkan is garam masala. And of course, when my son grew up, he started cooking. My husband cooks. I cannot expect them to put garam masala, second shelf, third row, red dhakkan back in the same place. And then it would go wrong. She'll say, Didi, to safed hai, garam masala nahi ho sakta. And I'll be like, who did that to my kitchen? Yeah, that was my first let them. Yeah, they make amazing food, they feed me. So let them deal with the kitchen the way they choose to be. Let me, what do? I put labels in Hindi for my cook. Okay, अब तुम्हें पता चल जाएगा कौन सा गरम मसाला है, कौन सा चना मसाला है. So that was the thing. Yeah, the second part is the understanding part. The to explore the need. Yeah, is the need in terms of, am I doing this to please people? Is it my need to feel good, worthy, helpful, relevant, or is it a boundary issue? So basically, do the diagnosis. So when Nupur said it is my need for that fairness, where is that need coming from? That's the understanding you need to get. Just think through what you've written in your notebook and see where is the need for that control coming from.
Shanti, are you sharing a slide that you're reading off from? Because it's not changing if you are.
No, it is still in the understanding part. Can you see that?
Awareness. No. It's psychological. It's the 5 stages currently.
Yeah. I'm in
We're
the same
looking at that.
understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, once you're aware of your pattern to be in control, you try and figure out or understand what's behind it. Yes, Chitra.
Yeah, Shanti, so as I made my list, I found myself answering a resounding, it's about me, it's about me, it's about me for practically everything. But one area which is essentially working with others,
Huh.
or I don't know why I keep coming back to event planning. Clearly, it's something I really don't intrinsically enjoy. But
Ah,
for example, some people, some organizations, you have to plan things sometimes a month and a half in advance. You have to send them a list of sketch pen chahiye, post-it note chahiye, 3 weeks in advance, and some you send them 3 weeks, they'll forget about it. They'll be like, "Aapne nahi bheja ye wo." So I keep thinking, then whose need is that then? Is it my need? Is it so essentially where you're working with others to create something?
so the original need to get the session delivered or the event delivered is their need. But
I mean,
how
like
to
planning, like
deliver
for
the
example,
event? How
yes.
should I do it that, I get good feedback so that my participants enjoy, so that they say, good job, Chitra, is your need.
Mm. Or even for something as seemingly silly as sending them list of stationery requirements
Why is it silly?
because it seems so silly.
No, it is a very important need.
Mm.
So it's okay. The let them is, it is possible they will choose to forget that I've sent them.
Yes.
What am I going to do? I'm going to send them in advance. And I actually do that when I'm sending the second reminder, third reminder, I change the subject line, reminder one, reminder two, reminder three. So, and in the same mail chain, so that, it's like naming and shaming. Third reminder, okay, I've not received an acknowledgement. So yeah, that's our need and it's okay.
It's okay, huh? I was like thinking, God, how is it okay? Which is why I'm even using qualifieds like
It's
silly.
okay for me. Let's hear from others. What do others think?
Yeah, it's empowering for me to hear this, to be very honest.
Ah, yeah. I'm a very stickler of, I need all of this. If you can't arrange for it, tell me, I will get it. I'll go to that extent also, but I need it.
I'm also like that. But like I'm always worried about this thing of what is right, what is
Yeah.
wrong, what is correct, what is. And so that's why I'm wondering whose need is it then? Is it my need? Is it their need?
My need uh, to
Got it.
be amazing during the session, that I deliver
Hmm.
it wonderfully well. Yeah, that is my need. And my definition of amazing, even that is my definition. Yeah, so we don't realize, we call things like amazing, phenomenal, great, good. These are all our own definitions. What is good to me will not be good to you.
Yeah, makes sense. So for example, someone like me, I would like to prep things well in advance, but I also know people like Nupur sharing,
Hmm.
where some people come up with the most brilliant ideas, uh,
So, in
with
the context of
immediacy, spontaneity.
stationery, I really struggle because I want to send my clients a list of stationery, but मैं ही इतना last minute कर रही होती हूँ,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh God, 1 day left, 2 day left, 3 day left. So I want to be like you and Shanti, and I keep killing myself over. If only I could do this 2 days in advance. But because I know myself, I have a box in my car where everything is there, just because I know it might happen, not happen at my end.
Hmm.
Having said that, every time I do it in advance, because now I've become a consultant in the last 1 year, I need to do more of this. तो मैं कर लेती हूँ, not maybe not 2 weeks in advance, 4 दिन पहले बता देती हूँ मैं. But then instantly I become the martinet कि अरे post-its नहीं आए, अरे ये
Ah,
नहीं आया, So that is the second part of the equation, where I'm also struggling because I put in so much effort in my sessions. And when, let's say, let's leave the stationery if you think it's silly, because चलो उसका तो जुगाड़ हो भी जाता है. But
Hmm.
अगर उनके लोग नहीं आए, या उनके लोग कैमरा नहीं ऑन करते, या despite all the effort that I've put in, half the class is there, and then I start getting anxious because I'm a perfectionist. So I'm a very unique combination of a crazy perfectionist, but who does everything last minute. So I really need to figure out the working well with others. But once I've done my work, even if my slide happened 3 seconds before the session, but I know it's done. People don't show up. I have control issues because then I start getting angry. But that if the session doesn't go well, you will come and tell me it was not effective. Or if the session doesn't go well, it'll look badly on me.
yeah.
So I really struggle. And I just completed a 2 month assignment with a client where the first 3 sessions were brilliant, but because their business model is such, they just couldn't come online, or they were always late, or they were not participative. Um, I did a little different approach this time. Firstly, I was feeling so miserable, I had to control my feelings and say that, 1 second, what of this could I control? If I'm angry because something in my session didn't go well, let me change for that next time. Like, can I make my session such that it'll still work with cameras off? Or can I make my session such that blah, blah, blah? Is there anything for me to do in this? Yeah, but not. I went and scheduled a meeting with the CHRO. I scheduled a meeting with the CEO, and I pretty much told them how disappointed I was while telling them that I thought that people were brilliant because the first 2 sessions were so good. I was floored. But I told them that your organization cannot do online sessions,
Yeah.
and I've tried my best. They don't listen. And I've told them that this is this. Now I'm still anxious that
As long as you've shared
I've shared with them.
what you think and you've done what you could. No, you've
Yeah.
changed these structures. So both let them and let me has been addressed.
And interestingly, I realized that um, the rightness part of it is there, but to a certain extent, they were fine with it. And
Yeah.
it was not coming from, they don't care. Their perspective was, Nupur, this is our first training and development program. Thank you for doing what you do. But maybe our people are not used to it. So
Not ready yet.
you might see a little bit of a, how can they? But for us, so this needle movement is also great. So that helped me reframe the fact that just because it's not happening to my standards does not mean that it's not happening well. Maybe the context is very different. So that's how it helped me.
Yeah. And the question Mel asks us to ask in that understanding phrase is, reflect on your environment, reflect on your upbringing, past experiences, what your parental figures have told you of what is right, what is wrong, what is must, should be, needs to be. Think about all of that. A lot of who we are today is shaped because of that. I have seen my mother absolutely perfect with her dabbas in the kitchen, and nobody could enter her kitchen till she was bedridden. So yeah, so that became my standard. I'm she never asked me to do it, but I'm living to those standards I have seen. Yeah. So think about what is triggering your need to control. So in Nupur's case, what is triggering Nupur's need that others should participate? That is what will make me feel. I'll give you a minute for you all to reflect, and then we'll move to the third step, application.
Can I share here? Because I
Yes, please.
happened to do something similar just last week.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've been in this for the last, I would say, 2 weeks. I've been in this dilemma of, I've become aware that I've started controlling a lot of things around me. And I'm currently doing a program on shadow mastery, and this thing had come up 2 weeks ago. And I really dug deep into it, and I realized that I was brought up in a very controlling environment. My dad was in the armed forces, and everything was just controlled. And here I'm married to someone who's absolutely not structured, not controlled, not like let it be. My husband gets up and goes to office when he wants to go to, unless he has a meeting or something. And my son has also become like that. Whereas I've been like, oh no, I have to get to work at 9 o'clock means I have to leave home. I have to be there before the meeting starts, very, very controlled and very structured. And in the process, I realized it was hampering my own health. And fortunately, the awareness, of course, dawned in recently, and I realized that it is coming from my childhood. Now, I'm doing a lot of what should I say, inner child healing, because it's not easy.
It is
It's
not
really not
easy.
easy.
And it
It's
is not done once and dusted.
no,
You
no,
have
no,
to
no, no.
keep revisiting.
Yeah,
And
you
a
have to keep.
lot of people make this mistake of, oh, I've captured, my I've touched my inner child, and I can wrap it up and close it and move on. And nahi hota hai. You have to
No.
keep reminding.
Yeah, so I recently started doing that. So, wow. I think it's just this. I mean, I didn't know that this program was about this per
Yeah.
se, and this would come in, but I guess it's all like just telling me get more deeper into it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you will all notice whatever you've written, and when you are trying to figure out what is triggering this need for control, it is somewhere in our past, our environment, how we've been brought up, what we've been told is right and wrong. Don't blame your parents, parental figures, it will not help us. But the fact is, we are who we are because of what happened to us
Yes,
several years ago.
correct.
We can't change
Absolutely.
our past. What is in our control is now and now on. So we'll stay with the now and now on. So for that, she talks about the third step, which is the application. So what is application? Practice the let them mindset in your day to day. The let them mindset is what to say when somebody acts in a way that you don't like, you don't prefer, it triggers you. Remind yourself to complete that statement. Let them, and fill in the blanks for immediately right then and there. Yeah. Uh, let them not pay attention. Let me tell them what will happen if they don't pay attention. Let them not turn on their cameras, but let me tell them how it's going to impact them if they don't turn their cameras on in the session. Nupur. Yeah. So basically, when you keep telling the let them let me, it you're applying it in all circumstances. Again, I'm saying it's easier said than done. Despite having read the book, it doesn't come spontaneously. It is only night when I'm starting to journal, oh shit, another opportunity missed, oh shit, another opportunity missed happens. But I'm hoping with more awareness, I've missed 3 opportunities today to practice let them. I'm hoping someday it will come spontaneously. I'm waiting for that, but hasn't happened yet. The fourth one is integration. So the reflective questions are there in the first 2 phases. Integration is basically making the mindset automatic, and that's what I struggled with. As I said, on reflection, I realized that I've not made it automatic. It didn't happen, and I missed an opportunity. But it only happens when I reflect later. So over time, I'm hoping that somewhere it'll be me. It'll be automatic. I won't have to do a reflection later to be able to realize. Yes, Vinisha.
So I think one thing that can help us be more mindful, and because that's something I did and it's kind of working a
Hmm.
bit, I wouldn't say 100%, but it started working, is make a list of all our triggers in the last 1 week
Yeah.
and then put them in the let them and let me, uh, you know, put them in that. And we will notice that these triggers are happening often.
Yeah. They're triggers because they happen often.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then when we relate it, oh, I've written this already, I've done this already, now I know how to think, now I know what it is. So I think it's just about sitting and making that list of
Very
all
true.
the triggers.
Yeah. Adding to that, Vinisha, the night journal, the let
Yeah,
me part comes in more easily now. Because I've written
exactly.
it, I know what I want the let me to look like. So if that thing happens again, the
Hmm.
let me is easier.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, Chitra.
So, an example is coming to mind, which I think is actually just this, the let them let be.
Hmm?
So I facilitate workshops, and especially soon after lockdown restrictions ended and people were coming back,
Hmm?
I used to get mortified if even one participant would fall asleep. Okay, and it still happens. I will be running a session where one person falls asleep, and there all of my inner voice that, oh God, I'm terrible, I'm boring, I'm this and that would just come. But I think at some point I really let empathy, I allowed myself to work from empathy, but I said, maybe this person's just really tired. Maybe they haven't slept. Maybe they had to catch an early morning flight. And it did so happen that that one participant who was falling asleep had to, I think, leave the house at 3 in the morning to reach that place
Yeah.
by 10. So I think after that, I tell myself if one person is dozing off, like let them, they probably have had a very crazy day. Let me not make it about me. But if everyone is dozing off at the same time, then I know it's time to give a break or to change something in my
Lovely.
energy. Is this an
Chitra,
example of let them let?
it
Okay.
is. The only thing I would want you to rephrase is the let me part. Let me not worry about them dozing off. So can you change that to
So
without?
don't use the not word you said, right? Yeah. Let me continue doing what I'm doing even if someone is dozing. I don't know, is that right?
Yeah, possible.
Okay, yeah.
Anything else you can do?
Let me empathize with why this is happening versus judge.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me give them a 5-minute break, stretch break. Yeah. Let me
speak to them and ask if they're
yeah.
well or if they need to take
And
care
let
of
me do
themselves.
something fun, not related to the topic, so that people
Yeah.
are again awake and alert. Yeah, there are lots of let me's you can think and plan. Brilliant.
Yeah. Super.
Yeah, and the last is one, of course, the transformation, where um, the moment that let them starts to happen very easily. You experience, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that that transformation happens. And then, I am not triggered by, team members making mistake, maid not cleaning one corner of the home, or, somebody not doing this and somebody not doing that. I'm hoping I'm not triggered by any of this, and I'm really living my let them and let me parts equally. So those are the five. Every section has about a couple of chapters, 2 to 3, and she follows this journey and allows us to go through the entire thing. Yeah. So then she asked this question: why do you think people are so hardwired with the need of control? I think we've discussed this. The psychology behind is the human need for control, where it is coming from our pedigree, from how we've been nurtured until date. Even our present day experiences supposedly color our choices and color our triggers, and uh, have the potential to change our belief, including belief system. That was one phrase which took me a long while to think and say, really? Suddenly today something happens, and does it have the potential to change my belief? Belief, I can understand, it's much smaller in scope. The belief system was a bit difficult for me to digest, but I haven't been able to counter, I haven't been able to disprove that. So I'm going to live with that for now. Yeah. Definitely the impact on practical applications on leadership. We are able to set healthy boundaries the moment we say, let me. Yeah. Chitra, I understand some of you may have had a heavy day and are feeling really tired. I am going to continue. If you really feel you need to step out, please feel free to do that. You've given them the boundaries, and you've given yourself that safe space that, okay, I will see somebody switching off their camera and walking away, or, walking away, leaving an empty seat in the camera, and that's fine. So that's the setting boundary that we are referring to. Second one is the fostering the relationships. Basically, with boundaries set, and you not wanting to control the others, and you taking action to not be in control. So you be you, I be I, definitely has a great impact on the relationships. This is the place where I've worked magic with my daughter. Final one is the personal empowerment. Definitely, I feel empowered because I'm calling out what I choose to do. And just the fact when you say, let me do this, that itself is so empowering because it feels I am deciding. But the moment you say let them and do not move to the let me part, it is not empowering. It is giving power to somebody else and saying, you have the power to make me dance to your tunes. And that is not empowering. But let them, I acknowledge that, yes, you have to be you, but I also acknowledge I have to be I. I had some role play scenarios. I'm not sure. We could just discuss them, I think. Role play. Yeah. How would you respond if a team member consistently disagrees with your approach? What is going to be your let them, and what is going to be your let me?
So, can I share an instance here?
Yes, please.
So, yeah, this is, I'm not talking about a team member, but I'm talking about my own son.
Yeah.
I mean, in office, I feel, we give in, we allow, people to be. But when it comes to your own personal life, you don't bring that here. You want to control even more. At least this I found in myself.
Lovely
So,
awareness, Inisha. Even I came to this. All these strict control areas were personal examples. I do have
yes,
professional, but they're far lesser. I think I'm far more let them in at work than at
correct.
home. My team is also here. They may also disagree. I don't know. That's my feeling. I haven't sought feedback from them. I don't know what they'll say. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, this is what I feel. In office, we like, okay, tell me your ideas, give your ideas, tell me how do you think, what do you think? All that we'll do in the office, all those leadership jargon, gyan, all that is in the office only, but not in the house.
Yeah.
So I still want to control. So yeah, so I did this with my son, of course, when he was in the 11th and 12th last year. And he says, Mama, you're always telling me to study. I'm like, yeah, because I don't see you studying, you know. So, but I finished studying in college. I'm like, but that's not enough. So he said, no, you don't tell me to study. I said, okay, I won't tell you to study. And I never told him to study. But he didn't fare well when I never told him to study.
Yeah.
So then I went back to him. I said, okay, you told me not to tell you to study. I didn't tell you to study. So now what do you want me to do? Leave me. I said, okay, I'll leave you. And I really left him. But when I look back, it was not my need. I mean, yeah, I was saying, I would tell him, I said, when I was your age, no, we used to study so much. He calls my parents Gamma and Gamka. I said, Gamka would sit with a stick if I was not studying. And there was no way we could watch TV, board exams, no way we could watch TV, all of that. I said, you are on your phone, you're watching TV, you're going for a walk, you're going for a drive. I mean, like what? So then, while I still feel no, he should do this, and there are times I tell my husband, बचपन में दो लाफा मारते ना, तो it would have been fine. वो नहीं हुआ. So sometimes I feel being strict at that young age for kids is also good, so that there's some control. And it's not I'm realizing it's not because I want to be in control, but because it is a certain way. I personally feel that if it is done like this, then life would be better.
See,
you know
you're
s-
already using the I feel if things are done in a certain way, it'll be better. It is still your feeling, your belief.
because I have seen the flip side. I've allowed them to be, and seen the pitfalls of it.
Totally agree. Yeah,
So,
I live with that. I will ask you a couple of questions, Vinisha.
huh.
Has everyone who's secured brilliant grades in their school and college, is everyone doing very well in their lives?
No, no, no. I'm of the belief that your marks in school do not decide your future, what your future is. I'm
Lovely.
of that total belief. But
Huh.
I'm saying, beta, कुछ तो अच्छे number लेके आओ that you get into a good college. Of course, today he's got into Christ, which is a very good college. That's a different thing. But that thought is get decent marks. He's been an average student, but he's been an ace in all extracurricular. I'm like,
That is our belief, no, Vinisha, that only if you get good marks, you will get admission in good colleges.
no, no, no. I mean, I'm not even of that belief. And in fact, I tell him also, I said, you have not got into Christ because of your marks. You have got into Christ because of your personality
Brilliant.
that you have become, the way you put, which is excellent. But I'm just saying, when he was in the 12th, I would tell him, beta, kuch to achhe marks nika, because we didn't know, what college he'll get into, and he's trying. And, and those days I heard very difficult to get into Christ. And this man just walks in, yeah. I'm like, yahan pe main mata pod rahi hu ki pata nahi, he'll get into college, trying to use my
It is
contact.
our fears. It is our fear.
True, it is.
We did not have as many career options. We did not have as many colleges. We did not have um,
Choices in
choices.
career.
Yeah, कि डॉक्टर इंजीनियर नहीं बने तो बेकार
कुछ
है
नहीं.
जिंदगी used to be the
हाँ.
thing for parents, right?
Correct. Arts
So
liya matlab you're very bad in studies.
you must be poor in studies and hence you've taken arts. Yeah, it's
Arts,
not
yeah.
arts is not your passion, but it is because you're poor. I was not allowed to not take science. It exactly same reason. Yeah. And of course, I started my career as a coder. 6 months later, I went to my dad, "Okay, I want to change my career." He stopped talking to me for 6 months, told my mom he's going to disown me because ladki haath se nikal gayi. It was that she doesn't know what she's talking about. I've spent so much money, and this is what she tells me, that she doesn't want to be in the career that was destined for her, and all of that he said. But now it's okay. Yeah.
Correct. True,
Uh,
true.
and it is our beliefs that we really want to be in control of what we think is right. But the reality is, हम
Hmm.
कितना भी effort डालें, their right is going to be their right. We may want
True.
only if they earn 20 lakh ruपया a month is going to give them a good life, but very possible they are happy with 2 lakhs a month. We don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe
So
2 crore a month is also not enough for them. Again, we don't know.
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My husband is on the is absolutely the opposite. He's like, let him be. It's his life. We can only do what we have to do. Baki, let him decide what he has to do.
Yeah, अब
So,
तो वैसे ही वो 18 के बाद बोलेगा ना, I'm an adult. I
हाँ,
can make my own choices. Then yeah, you
अब
have
तक तो नहीं बोला, but
आज आने वाला है आने वाला है. Yeah, Nupur and then Chitra.
thanks, Shanti, for this
Most welcome.
conversation.
So, Vinisha, just working more on what you said. Two small things. I'll start with the funnier thing, even though that was my second point. Must tell you that I'm the product of the most perfectionist, the most controlling, the most crazy mother the world has ever known. And my father, मतलब that man is from the armed forces, but the complete ulta armed forces. मतलब from the time he was 30, he used to say मैं कब retire होऊंगा क्योंकि मुझे सुबह पीटी नहीं करना है. So my father is, so my mother's whole thing has been do to the point that when she couldn't control my sister, when she was preparing for medicine, she put a rule that you have to at least study 17 hours a day because she had no other control over inputs. Of course, it didn't work for my sister. She's a dentist today because of my mother, but she's also not on a lot of things because of my mother. My father is, so imagine a man sipping pina colada in the middle of a traffic jam. That's my father. You can't make him
How
go in.
sweet.
He's something else. So we are always stuck between the choice of who we want to be. And I notice
Hmm.
that every time I'm doing good, despite being a person with ADHD, despite having developmental disorders, which I've come to know at 40, the fact that I have a career, the fact that I earned well, the fact that I was at the top of my game is because of my crazy, maniacal, controlling mother. Because if she had not done what she had not done, I would have let go. And that was the point I was trying to make, that maybe the let them theory is true for us and what we want to be, but it may not completely translate to people like my animals. I can't let this cat that is on my bed right now, that licks its wounds and she's had an amputation. अभी मैं उसको let them नहीं कर सकती हूँ क्योंकि every time she licks her wounds वो बीमार पड़ जाती है. So I think
Hmm.
there's a boundary to the let them theory between adults and people and things that are under our control. But
Yeah.
we need to understand where is the
What is in our control? Where's the
what
boundary?
is
Hmm.
in our control and what
Correct.
is absolutely necessary. I can't take
Yeah.
out her collar because she'll kill herself, or I can't let
Hmm.
her run out, she'll come back dead. I can't let my dog run into blah blah blah. I don't have children and they are my children, so those are the examples. But do I really need to slap my dog when she eats something? Usko dimag mein nahi ja raha hai. So that's where it's my need for control. I
Hmm.
think that reflection, constant reflection, कि is this coming from my fears? Is this coming from the fact कि मेरी माँ मुझे दो लगा देती थी तो मैं अपनी बिल्ली को भी दो लगा देती हूँ? That is that where it's coming from? Versus this is absolutely necessary because I have also
Hmm.
turned back and told my parents a few times कि क्यों नहीं किया तुमने? क्यों पुश नहीं किया? या क्यों जब तुम्हारा टाइम था करने का तो तब तो you all were not doing it. So at some point my mother said something. I said, why didn't you do it? Why didn't you push me? But why didn't you push me the right way? To my mother, it has always been, why did you beat me up so much? Why couldn't you find the way to connect to me rather than scaring me? And to my father, it was, तुम तो रहने दो पापा, तुम तो आराम मतलब let them ही कर रहे थे. But the funny instance I wanted to tell you was, all our life our mother was the अभी करो अभी पढ़ो ये नहीं किया मारो, and we used to really go like, oh God, when will she give us a break? We were scared of her. And Papa was this cool dude who never said anything, never did anything. I remember in my 10th standard, my mother was as usual at it. नहीं करती, नहीं पढ़ती, करो, friends. My father came into the room and I was like, wow, the cool dude has come. He will protect me now. And my father came and scolded my mother, which he never does. He doesn't raise his voice at anybody. And he said, why don't you just let her be, Manju? Why can't you just let her be? And I was like, yeah, amazing. And how he ended it was, let her sleep through her exam. Let her flunk her exams. Let her fail. And जब फेल हो जाएगी, जब 2 एग्जाम नहीं पास करेगी, जब सोती रहेगी, पता चल जाएगा. And I was suddenly so abandoned. I went to my mother and said, "नहीं mummy, please scold me. Please, this man is scary because his ability to let go, he can watch me walk into fire and not protect me. So every time my father would come and do that, we used to run to our mother and say, Mama, it's okay. Please help
You're
us."
right.
You're
You're
Because
right.
right.
so I think the balance is important.
Yeah.
But I also feel that you can hold accountabilities, but for children or wherever I feel that this I will regret. This I will
Mm.
absolutely regret. There I will intervene. And I think the nuance is in knowing the difference. I'm also struggling. Today I was asking myself the whole day कि मैंने बिल्ली का कॉलर तो डाल दिया, but मैंने उसको 2 थप्पड़ क्यों लगाए? वो तो बिल्ली है. अभी बिल्ली को मैंने 2 थप्पड़ क्यों लगाए? But that's because in my childhood, जब तक 2 थप्पड़ नहीं लगाए, I'm not being a motherly figure ना. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think somewhere in between lies the exploration.
very true.
Mm.
One out of context, out of book, out of syllabus example before I hand it over to Chitra. This belief that we are the way we are because of our parents is also a myth. Yeah, I'll tell you a story. There was this lovely couple with twins as their children and a very happy family when the husband died. The single mother then had to take the entire responsibility of bringing up the young twins and ensuring that they do well. And in all the stress and trauma, and she did not have time to grieve, and whatever her reasons, but she was mentally tired, unwell, and she ended up in a mental asylum. And as they were taking her to the hospital, she would scream at her twins, young twins, that just see, you've troubled me so much that both of you will end in the mental asylum. Just see, both of you will end in the mental asylum. That's how she would curse, and she was sent to the mental asylum. And of course, she passed away there. The story ends with yes, both the children did end up in the mental asylum. They made their mother's verdict for them come true. But one of them ended up as a patient, and the other ended up as a doctor. So we do live our parents' verdicts, but how we choose to live it is subconsciously still ours. We can be a rebel. This is what my mother did. I will not do it. Or, oh, this is the only way to be. My mother has said I will end up in a mental asylum. Whatever I do, that's how I am going to end. Yeah. So, though it is very easy now to say I am what I am because of what happened to me then, it is the choices we've taken until now. We are a product of that. Just wanted to call it out before going to Chitra. Yes, Chitra.
Yeah, I think I was going to share the same thing that Nupur spoke
Mm.
of, that I think all these examples we're sharing, at least I'm assuming it's an adult to adult relationship. And because for me, this is also assertiveness at one level, right? About asserting needs, asserting boundaries. And I feel like generally when the question comes up, how to be assertive with my child, I feel
Mm.
that's so tricky because children are not adults. We cannot expect them to behave like adults. We cannot expect
Yeah.
them to demonstrate adult like maturity and thinking. And so maybe sometimes if it is, I don't have children either, but I do have nieces and nephews, and I have had that chat with my 15-year-old nephew of beta padho, exam ke liye padho, just get some marks, okay, and once you're in college you can do what you want. And I think every family there's always some parent figure who's stressing over some kid who's writing board exam, but also maybe that's what they need at that age, that strictness, that rules, that I know better than you. And I mean, so I do feel that I'm assuming that even when we talk about let them let be, we are assuming it is an adult-adult relationship. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
Absolutely. So, and that's what she says. This book is for adults.
It is for adults.
Yeah.
You did
Yeah.
mention 18 plus, yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing, what a coincidence, I am also a military child.
ये क्या हो रहा है?
Wow.
Registration में कोई वही वो था क्या criteria?
Sounds like it. And interesting enough, Air Force kid. Okay. And my dad is the most meticulous, detail oriented checklist person. So crazy that, like, if we have to go to the airport, he would want us to leave 4 hours in advance because he will plan. Car will break down, tire will have to be changed. Ye hoga, wo hoga. So then one day I asked, Appa, why are you so obsessed with checklists? And then he explained he used to be an engineer. He's now enjoying his retirement. He was like, see, I am a flight test engineer. If I do not follow the checklist to the T, the pilot will die. Okay. I was like, what? So pretty much like, that area, like surgeons and
Yeah.
flight test engineers, like somebody else's life is in your hands.
Hmm.
So the need to follow rules, processes, be meticulous was really deeply ingrained. I keep telling myself now, okay, great value I've got from my father, but nobody's dying if I don't follow the checklist. Why am I being so hard on myself? Like in his case, at least there was that pressure. I get it. Like, someone's life is in your hands. You better do this. You and your team better be the best engineers working on this very advanced, mechanical craft and all of that.
So true.
So I keep telling myself, ki, it's okay. I'm not a flight test engineer. I'm not a cardiac surgeon. I don't have to
Yeah,
put
not
so much
required
pressure.
in this context. Very true. Very
Yeah.
true. Yeah, Vinisha.
There's something that I realized a few years ago is that, I mean, this is a little getting a little philosophical, but the fact that before we are even born, we choose our parents to learn our lessons in this lifetime. And the day I realized that, I started accepting um, my relationships with my parents. Whether because I was always a rebel child, and I ran away from home twice, and they brought me back, and all of that stuff. And I vowed like कि 12th के बाद मतलब निकलना ही है, वापस नहीं जाना है, निकल गई, वापस नहीं गई, छुट्टियों के लिए जाना है. And even when I go home, my husband is like, मॉम के साथ 10 दिन ज्यादा रहना मत, you लड़ाई करके आ जाओगी. But ever since I realized that, I have let them be. It's like, it's like, hey Bhagwan, ये पहले क्यों नहीं बताया मुझे? It's like something that just got off my shoulders, my head, that was so overbearing. And I started discovering more and more about me. So I think that realization really, really helped me.
Yeah, yeah. Lovely. Thank you for all the shares. I think that's made the session so much more relevant. I don't even feel like doing the second example. I think the stories were far more richer. And yeah, we will, unless somebody has a very particular thing to call about a colleague and you want to share it, I'll give you a minute to decide whether you want to share something. Otherwise, I think this sharing has already been so. Jyoti, you are tempted to unmute.
You've not heard Jyoti in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are in the HR world, and definitely the politics and things are there. And and in the HR itself, there are so many departments, right? Recruitment, L&D, HR, and blah blah. So in that, whatever it is, the HR head buy-in has to be there, right? Even whatever we have to have a bonding or buy-in from that person. And I could sense that person would always disagree with the initiatives, strategies we bring to the table, even before there is an approach note given. There is like, we'll park it, we'll take it later, kind of a thing. And so this kind of a thing was happening again and again. And then there was a time, that's their behavior, or way of their style of working. And then I had to stand by for me, I need to do something, I need to take action, I need to be responsible for my department and things like that. I said, I agree that you disagree, I'm okay that you don't buy this approach, but I still want to take that 5 minutes to, present my plan and my strategy. Okay. I know it's going to be shelved off. That's fine with me, but I still want to, just doing that. And after I come back, I get a message from my the director saying that, we want to go ahead with this.
Wow.
Yeah, so those few like 4 to 6 months staggering, and those things emotionally what we were going through was like too much, and team morale was also going low, like, are we not able to stand by for,
Yeah.
it's not for me, it's for the organization, but still it was like, because of someone's, or their style, their behavior, their pattern, it would hinder. And yeah, we didn't go to the mental well-being, but then it would have been like if we don't take that step. And this definitely, this was a reflection I was getting, and I was also getting a reflection when all these people were talking about their father, mother, and all of that, right? My whole childhood before marriage was like a boyish character, I drive all kinds of bikes, I'm on the road all the time, I come home only at 9, and things like that. Just after marriage, it's completely a flip, like, pura Garelu, like, what do you say, that gungat kind of a bahu, that kind of a transformation. I don't know how and what has happened, or, the people or a culture has influenced, but it has, that shift has happened. And we see that control pattern will go to different people we are connecting.
Yeah.
The all the 5 things what you mentioned, I felt that we have to reflect and be conscious in whatever the relationship we are, even with my cat or with my son. It matters a lot on understanding and responding in a right way.
Absolutely. Spot on. Spot
Yeah.
on. Yeah. And a beautiful example of let them and let me.
Yeah.
Let them disagree. It is okay for them. It is their choice to disagree. But let me at least present it. After that, if they disagree, I'm fine with it. But let me at least present my approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And when we do that also, are we doing, okay, forget it kind of a thing? With that, you're still carrying an emotion of not forgiving them.
Correct.
Yeah. So I was thinking that consciously we have to, that even when I started, that it's okay to be not okay with the
It's okay to be
okay.
not okay. Yeah, it is okay
Yeah.
for you to not agree, but for me, it is important that I share what I put together and I choose to share, full stop. Yeah, it just
Right.
be that. Last one, how do you, what can be your daily practices that will allow you to practice let them, let me? I think some of us, we've already shared looking at the 5 steps or journaling or consciously noting your triggers. Anything else that comes to
For me, journaling, along with that, a gratitude journal
you?
and my breathing exercise helps me to, um, fuel the power for myself.
Yes, Chitra.
Journaling and all, I was thinking just physical exercise also. For me personally, it helps because what I do is I just keep my phone off and I focus on the count. And something about focusing on the count of the movements of the reps and sets. And by the way, I hate going to the gym. It's not something I enjoy, but I have
Right.
found my peace in this just wo counting karo. And I now see why when I was a kid, parents would say count numbers if you're struggling to get sleep. There's something very relaxing about that counting for me. And I find that I look forward not to know how strong I'm getting or how many weights I can do, but what counting will I do today? What music will I listen to when I counting? And that's my happy space. That's I finally found my reason that what allows me to feel excited about going to the gym. Just that act of counting that I feel allows my very anxious mind to calm down. So that has helped. That has really helped. And I feel in doing that, I'm not as agitated or as anxious if people
True.
are not following the timelines I expect them to follow and things like that. So I do find that in my case, the old adage of some sort of physical fitness has definitely helped.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Shanti, can I add
Yes, please.
It's tempting because Chitra said physical. I believe in motion. Yeah, you have to be in motion to be fit. Yeah, so five things. What I really practice in my day to day is, goals which are, for personal, professional, health,
Mm.
wealth, and for self. This is something which is like lost. Okay, personal when it comes, they get confused. Personal or self क्या होता है? Personal is like all your family, friends, and children and all of that. Self होता है सिर्फ हमारा. Okay, and for these five to be nurtured, the five pillars are a key. Having a uh, eating right, sleep, drinking water, being hydrated, and positive mindset and physical activity. So when your mental and physical well-being is all good, you can achieve all these five goals. So that's my mantra, to sustain and survive.
Yeah. And by the way, Jyoti is a health coach too. Apart from being an L&D in an organization, she's also a health coach. So you
Wow,
can follow her to get all of this health tips of,
Yeah,
so nice.
yeah,
yeah.
close to
Jyoti, what
100
were the
kgs,
five?
losing 20 kgs, it was like a nightmare. Yeah, but yeah, the journey is still on and it's lifelong. I realize that now.
You can't, yeah, you can't. That's why it's a journey. It goes
Yeah,
on.
Jyoti, what were the five things you said? Personal, professional, health, wealth, and
self.
self.
I've written a blog on this. You can check on my LinkedIn.
I don't know if there's a way to stay connected with all of you. I feel
Can
so
you
happy
put
that
it in
Yeah,
the chat, Jyoti, the link to your blog?
yeah,
Or
that
you
is
can
so
put it on the
nice.
WhatsApp group.
okay. I don't know, Shanti, I have so much part of your so many groups.
Which one?
Actually, I'm not part of any group, I realize.
How did you get this in? You must be part
Coaches
of.
Collective, Coaches Collective.
So from Coaches Collective, you would have joined the Leader in You Lean In community. You may have
Ah,
chosen, I don't want to be part of the WhatsApp group, send
Actually, I
only
did.
emails. You would
I
have
did.
chosen
Yes,
that.
yes,
That is a
yes,
possibility. But we
yes.
have a WhatsApp group also for all this banter.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
Yeah. If
Hmm.
you want, tell me, I will move you in. Yeah, so you can put it there or you can share it with me, Jyoti. I will put it in the relevant group and tag you because I know you are there. So I can tag you
sure,
there. Yeah.
sure.
So I think one practice that is helping me rewiring while I'm feeling beautifully at it,
Mhm.
but कभी कभी सही हो जाता है. Like I struggle between let them be for my parents. They are adults, they can do it for themselves, versus the very famous Piku line where Piku says कि एक उम्र के बाद अपने parents को you have to bring them up.
Yeah.
So I struggle between that sense of responsibility. Yesterday, again in the evening, there was hilarious. My father was going for a walk and he wore the shiniest blue shorts and he wore a Hawaiian shirt I got from him from Vietnam. And he was leaving, and because Papa and I have such a wonderful relationship, I don't call my father father, I call him Budau out of love. Most people die, but we've always called each other Budau and Sadu. So I always just when he was leaving, I said, Budau, why don't you wear fluorescent cap also? Because he also had orange shoes. So I said, hey, beyond a point, now you're becoming embarrassing. And he's like, let it be, let me be. And I'm such a let it be, let me be person. But somehow, when it comes to my parents in their old age, I'm getting into eat your supplements. Why can't you have magnesium at night? Why don't you do this? Don't buy gold. Don't go click on these things. You don't know there's a scam happening. So I guess I become their parent. So most times I think I'm learning to ask myself, ki, how bad is this? How important is this? Also, therapy helped me a lot. And in therapy, when I did inner child healing, it helped me. In therapy, when I also did something called family constellation, um, it came out that when that therapist was doing this family constellation, you all can read up those who don't know. It was very clear that the way I did family constellation, they tell you to place
Mm.
um, where people are in that setup. And in my constellation and the way I saw it, I had gone to my therapist 2 years back, and that time there was a big fight in the family. Ki, why can't I buy you a car? Why can't I buy you jewelry? Even though I may not have the money, but I have these goals in my mind about what I have to do for my parents. So when my therapist made me do this family constellation thing, it came out that I have put myself above my parents as their parent. And I had to do a lot of unlearning, where the therapist had to tell me, stop being your parents' parent, stop being your parents' parent. And I can't accept money from them because I feel I'm failing. I should be providing for them. And she had to work in therapy with me on the fact that it is your job as a child to accept gracefully from your parents. But what you're trying to do, that I must outbuy my parents, I must gift them holidays, give them a gold thing, buy them a car. It's okay if it's coming from love once in a while, but your need to provide for your parents who don't even need it actually, um, it's a form of control. So the rewiring that helped me is therapy for sure. A lot of inner child healing and family constellation work helped me a lot. Having said that, I've been able to let go of 10, 12 areas. But then there are these places where I get into fights like yesterday, and my father was laughing and he went into the room and told my mother, Manju, अपना uniform check कर लो, नहीं तो गुड़िया तुम्हें घर के बाहर जाने नहीं देगी. And I was like, say what you want to say about me, I don't care. But there was humor to it. We
Mm,
made my father change,
mm,
because we told him, you look like a peacock.
mm.
And when my mother came out, he thought I'll fail her, but she looked fine. So I said, why will I fail her? She's looking fine. But then they left, and I told myself, was this part really necessary?
Necessary.
Is it coming from my need ki my father should not be laughed at? Is
Mm,
it coming from my need ki, are, what will people say? Nupur doesn't even invest in her parents.
mm.
And then I said, nahi yaar, this one is a me thing. Uh,
Control. I want
this
to be
is,
in control.
I
Yeah.
want my parents to look good. I want my mother to, I can buy them clothes, but I can't now get into, Papa, you can't do this. Yes, of course, if it's a he's an army guy, so he knows अगर आर्मी इंस्टीट्यूट जाना है तो बेल्ट पहनना है, सॉक्स पहनना है, वो उसको आता है. बट जब वो नहीं करना होता है तो ही इज लुकिंग वॉकिंग अराउंड लाइक अ मैन हु हैज नो फैमिली. सो आई नीड टू फाइंड दैट बैलेंस एंड आई एम ट्राइंग टू. बट समटाइम्स आई जस्ट लूज कंट्रोल, एंड अनफॉर्चुनेटली लाइक यू, ये मुझे बाद में समझ आता है पास्ट रिफ्लेक्शन में कि यार, I'm glad it went on as a joke, but did I really need to control how he was looking? What's the worst the world will say? He looks like he's come from Hawaii. ठीक है, बोल देंगे. क्या problem है? Why did I need to get involved and tell a 75-year-old man what he needs to wear? So
Lovely.
again, balance.
Balance.
Balance is
And that's
interesting.
the exact integration she talks about in the book. That
Okay.
it's not easy for you to start practicing magically one day के आज से, 5 p.m. say let me, in me nahi hoga. That it has to happen through reflection. So once you reflect, you'll start the way you question yourself, was it even necessary? So what's my let them going to be if this happens again? I am going to let them dress the way they choose to be. What am I going to do? Let me just say that, wow, you're looking colorful, enjoy. So when
Yeah.
you say that
Sure.
to yourself, the more
Yeah.
you say that to yourself, at some point in time, it should come. I'm waiting for that, Nupur. That's the honest thing. I'm waiting for it from my reflection diaries to come
Yeah.
into my practice.
And the last thing that immediately works for me is the kind of rebel that I am, and the kind of, because of therapy, let me put it right. Because of therapy, earlier I didn't have boundaries. I was just a rebel without a cause. Because of the therapy and the coaching that I've done, I've now developed very good, healthy boundaries. And one of the problems I had was that I had such controlling parents. I feel that it's okay if I control them in their old age, right? So I
Yeah.
think now my boundaries are about me, and a lot of my therapy is about me. So the one way, now that I've had 2, 3 years of journey with the boundary making, I immediately asked myself as soon as he left the house, that would you have been okay if he would have told you what to wear?
Yeah.
Firstly, my father would not have told me what to wear in a million years. Um, and आजकल, because of my fear of me, the family has ना, because boundary holding, Nupur is in a boundary holding mode, तो सब थोड़े डरे हुए हैं. तो nobody would dare or want to tell me. So I asked myself, how would you be if somebody told you what to wear? You would snap. So very gracious of him to, use humor. I also used humor. We all laughed about it, but it's a control thing. So I think one reframing of would you be okay with it if somebody controlled you in this way is helping me ask who I want to be and how I want.
And Nupur, I so relate to even my military dad was the Hawaiian shirt. But there is a part of me that thinks, I think a lot of military men, they show their rebellion against the conformity they had to do
Yes.
as part of the job once they retire. It's just something I've noticed.
I constantly have these fights with my parents कि हमारे साथ पूरा जिंदगी सांस भी कैसा लेना है, एप्पल को कैसा काटना है. As a child sitting in those army messes, you couldn't be allowed to be a child. You had to learn how to cut that apple with a chaku. And I used to be like, can't I just be a child and cut the
Yeah.
apple? No, ये fork, ये spoon, ऐसे बात करो. And then now when they are like following no rules.
Yeah, I do think it is a bit of rebellion there also.
I
Like,
think I turn and tell them,
so
यार
too.
पूरी जिंदगी हम लोगों को ये राइट रॉन्ग कराया और अब यू आर नॉट फॉलोइंग एनी ऑफ इट.
Any right,
But
wrong.
yeah, now I still tell myself that's still them, who they want to be, who they want to change to be. They don't owe me to be a certain way. I let them, only where it's a value-based thing, I put it down. Otherwise, I don't. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I'm trying my best not to.
even when you put down things, they are adults, they can make their own choices,
They
which
can
can
make
be
their own choice.
not what you choose for them.
Absolutely. When my father turns around and tells me, गुड़िया बच्चे हमने मैनेज कर लिया, 70 साल हो गया हमसे. मैं
So sweet.
So I'll be like, ठीक है, but it's okay. तो जब तुम then I fight and say, जब तुम मुझे बोलते थे बचपन में then, तब क्या हुआ? अभी मैं I know better, I know technology, तो सुन लो. But sometimes they're very gracious and they listen. And other times, I'm my father's daughter, so he's a rebel. There are 12 bottles of magnesium lying. वो आदमी नहीं छुएगा तो वो आदमी नहीं छुएगा. So I'll let it go. So the let me buy magnesium for my father because he struggles to sleep.
Yeah.
Let me do that. Let him. I've done it. He wants to have the magnesium. Let him. But next day, what I do is when he comes and cries and says, sorry, Are yaar, aaj I'm having a lot of pain. I'll be like, did you have your magnesium? He says, no. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not available for this conversation.
Yeah.
And I leave. So that's how much I'm doing. That's it. That's my boundary. I won't be sucked into your.
With that, we do come to the end of the session. I will stop sharing and I'll quickly ask one key takeaway before we wrap up. And everyone, even those who've not spoken throughout, yes, Asapri.
So, first of all of your stories were so relatable and pretty interesting and humorous. But there were just few thoughts that were constantly recurring in my mind. So, first, I feel a lot of the way that we are is because of the way communication has taken place around us and continues to be so. So, in all our conversations, be it with our parents in the parent childhood phase or when we turn adults, it has always been about outcome. अरे पढ़ाई नहीं करते हो, अरे ये तो सबको पता है ना पढ़ाई नहीं करते हो. But to actually sit with that child and understand कि क्यों पढ़ाई नहीं हो रहा है, is it something else that is interesting you more, you give that time, acknowledge कि interest कहीं और है, क्योंकि जितना coercion होगा उतना resistance होगा. And somehow that is what also gets reinforced by us when we turn adults, because that is what we have also seen. And वो होता है कि okay, these set of people have always interacted with me like that, so even if I want to be my mature evolved self, it still evokes that reaction in the action reaction cycle. So that is one point. Another point, I think somewhere there is always that itch of we having been a certain person in our growing up years, and there were many external factors that contributed to it. And because it was always the outcome that was told to us, and the approach of letting the child develop his own thought process, teaching him how to think, decide the right and wrong for you, I'll lay it out for you, I'll sit with you. So I think इसलिए जब that phase comes when we are growing up, we are evolving, but there is a certain sense of hesitation in exploring, acknowledging, and applying the new perspectives that we are getting. Because kahin na kahin past mein hai ki, but should I try it? Should I not? Because nobody has actually sat down with us and and taught us how to think and decide what is right and wrong for ourselves. And this is, I think, the approach everywhere. तो वो इतना strongly, I think, ingrain हो गया है, इतना imbibe हो गया कि शायद लोगों को भी नहीं पता. And even I think a lot of conversations can ease out when certain thought processes are set in stone. कि ठीक है, my parents, I have a lot of arguments, बहुत झगड़े होते हैं, whatever, but if that is the reality, then another reality that equally stands true is nobody is also going to nobody is a better well wisher for me as them. So that fulcrum has to be set in stone, and then the conversations can revolve around it, because eventually both the parties want the best for each other. But if that foundation is a little shaky, then the conversations also, I think, go haywire.
Very true. Very
Eventually everybody does come around, because everybody, I mean, in that close-knit circle, everybody just wants the best for each other. And once they're convinced and once they start seeing results, so a lot of times I feel it is about the choices that you make, and you don't have to completely separate yourself from those uncomfortable conversations or from those people. You also have to show patience on your part and take them along with you, and everybody eventually does come along, but certain mindsets have to be set in stone. And
Yeah, even if they don't come along, Asabri, it's okay. That's what we are trying to say here. The idea is the let me part is an act of taking them along, and it is absolutely fine if they choose not to, because that is their choice, and it's okay.
yes, but so by that I don't mean they have to completely agree with what we are doing,
As
but
long as that's the thing, then it's okay.
but the unease and the discomfort that they have
Ah.
from us exploring new territories, that will be completely solved for once they see the results on our part. But in that journey, the communication has to be
Has to be
constant.
clear. Again and again reiterated,
Yes.
letting you do this, and this is what I choose to.
It should not be a blame game. It should be a process-oriented conversation with facts in place, with outcomes in place, with possibility scenarios, all of that.
I love the possibilities. That has worked with my children, where करना है ये भी कर सकते हो, तो ये हो सकता है, ये हो सकता है, तुम्हारी मर्जी, ये करना है तो ये सब हो सकता है, तुम्हारी मर्जी. And yeah, has worked. Touch wood, both of them can think on their own, and now they teach me how to think. वो भी बात है, but yeah. Yes, Vinisha.
So I think my takeaway here is, while I have been working on the let me, but the let me, I realized came more from a space of rebel rather than from a space of accepting let them.
Ah, beautiful.
So वो खुन्नस में कुछ जाने दो कि let it be, मैं दिखाऊंगी, मैं भी नहीं करूंगी. So that came more from a space of rebellious. So I think yeah, that's a very big shift that's happened for me right now. Thank you.
So that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 you were talking is that structure, right, Shanti?
Which one?
That you were saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is those
Those
structure of
5
the
points.
book.
No.
No,
So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, she says, whenever you're feeling anxious and there is an urge to react immediately, somebody says, Jyoti, you did it wrong, and you want to snap back at them, say, no, I did my best. Just start counting in a reverse order: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, 1, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it is so normal to you that your brain is not holding back. There is no pause. So, when you do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's not the normal way you count. So your brain goes into a pause. There's a shift in thinking from that anger. I want to react to it. I want to show her that I was right. There's a slight shift, and then whatever response will come out is a thought through response. You may not realize, but you've already thought through it while you were counting that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Got it. So my big takeaway is let them and let me.
Let them, let me. Yes.
If you all can, do connect.
Firing is good to know everyone. Same journey. Yeah. Uh, I think the more I'm reading so many books, it's like uh, onion chile जा रहा है, never ending process. Yes, Chitra.
I think my takeaway, I mean, of course, I love the let them, let we. So it's simple and so profound all at once. That makes me so happy. And the other one is, I think I'm realizing more and more as I'm growing older through all my journeys, professional, personal, is unconditional positive regard. To just always assume that whatever decisions people are taking, it's not, it may seem sometimes that it's malicious, malintent, but I think if I can change the voice in my head to unconditional relaxes me, it allows me to understand that multiple perspectives can exist. And I just it's something that I've discovered only a couple of years ago, but I feel it's been a bit of a beacon for me. So I see that relating even here, that if I just assume that the other person has good intent and there's positive regard, then whatever they decide, their choice, let them be. It's fine. Let
Oh,
me.
agree. The moment people decide to marry, I think they should go through these courses.
है ना?
Managing relationships, parenting, understanding emotions. Uh, 2 साल बाद शादी करना, 2 साल के लिए कोर्सेस करना. Would have been lovely.
Yeah.
In fact, in Christianity, before you get married, you have to go through a course, and you can only get married 6 months later. So if you haven't done that course, you cannot put your shadi ka date. You're not allowed to get married in church.
अरे वाह.
So I went through that program with my husband because I got married in church. So we had to give our date. So if they said no, suppose the date is like within the 6 months, they said you postpone your shadi.
Wow.
And it was so
They do a
beautiful. I
right
mean,
counseling, right? Both bride side and the groom side.
yeah, both of us
Yeah.
together. So it was a group. So for 2 days we were in this workshop, and we were given certain scenarios, and we had to write a lot. Those days the phone won't nahi tha, likho. So you had to write a lot, and there were questions given. So how I would handle it, how he would handle it. We would be separated, write it in your notebooks, and come and exchange your books. Not talk to each other, but exchange, read. After you read, then you sit and have a chat. That was so beautiful,
Oh,
so beautiful.
lovely. Yeah.
Very, very beautiful.
शुरू करते हैं कुछ
ये
ऐसा.
हस्बैंड के साथ कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है यार, बाकी सबके साथ है.
Yeah, I'm sure marriage is hardly between two people. It is between two families.
Yeah.
Or you will decide like me that you prefer cats and dogs and choose not to.
Not to marry.
Yeah.
Personal choice.
इस लाइफ में अपने ऊपर ही फोकस करना इतना मुश्किल हो रहा है, दूसरे के ऊपर जाने का
Yes,
टाइम नहीं
करेंगे.
है. बहुत बहुत है, दिस टू मच हैपनिंग. अपना सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन ही नहीं खत्म हो रहा है.
Hmm.
Lovely. Thank you, ladies. This was
Thank you so
one among
much
the
for this.
best book reads. I think I was. I've not enjoyed a book read as this one ever. So thank you.
Thank you.
So much for
Thank you everyone.
hosting
Thank you
this.
Ishita.
Thank you.
Thank you Vinisha.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
everyone for your contribution to making it so enriching.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something very funny. While all of us were reflecting, I was in a position, अरे ये तो मेरे साथ भी होता है, अरे ये तो मेरे जैसे बात कर रही है. And I didn't, and then it feels like, it feels like the other people who are talking, whose children are 10 beyond, मुझे लगता है मेरा ना crash course चल रहा है. This is what you're going to see. And then I feel, अरे मेरी वाली तो 5 साल की है, अभी से ही ऐसा करना शुरू कर रही है. Oh, these days children are getting advanced. You call them, मतलब their mental age is +5 of what their
Wow.
biological age is.
Absolutely.
So too, yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm getting a crash course too. I'd love to
Enjoy.
have all of you in the next discussion as well. मेरे लिए.
Lovely. So, by the way, Asavri has volunteered to do Who Moved My Cheese next month.
Oh.
So,
Let's
looking forward to it, Asavri. And others, any book that you would like to present, share with others, reach out to me or Ishita. We will make it happen.
Sure.
I can just nominate it. The body keeps score. If we could do that, I would love to do
The
something.
body
Keeps the
score.
score.
Oh, la.
मेरा गला. The body keeps score.
हाँ.
Because
Yes.
I want to push
Got it.
myself towards somatic healing. But before that, I really want to get into the body keep score. So if y'all will partner with me on that, it'll help me a lot.
Done. Done.
Lovely.
डेट डाल के अनाउंस कर देंगे, तुम पढ़ती रहना.
Please.
Then you'll have a deadline to finish the book.
Yeah, then
कुछ
you have a
priority नहीं
deadline.
होगा.
Very true. And you know, there were the last two sessions others did. I bought the book, I started reading it, but didn't complete. Okay, somebody else has to present, no? So you give yourself that lax. But now that this one I had to present, 3 दिन पहले मैंने खत्म किया weekend पे कि तो करना ही करना है.
Cool. I'll take up body keep score. Oh no, what have I done?
Good job. Everyone, take care.
I'll reach out to you to discuss the dates. Bye bye, everyone.
Sure. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.